Hi everyone. For today's stream, we're gonna be working on. Tuesday were uh, doing some refactoring, cleaning up some of the code that we're using for our shot overlay, our alert notifications that we're getting on the channel, and some other stuff. So the goal of today will be to just continue refactoring as much as we can, and then from there. What is up? Oh. Oh. Yes, I did. I did. I also got a haircut. But yeah, so the goal of today is to go through everything that we did the past couple of weeks and prepare it to open source it. So we want to open source it, so other people could start using it, and also the goal of the stream is to start building tools open source for open source. So we are going to our goal today is to just go through everything we have done, prepare for open sourcing, and then we might have to work on some backend stuff, but mostly it's still just going to be Go, and we're going to prepare for open sourcing it. And then there is some fixes I want to do, but we could do those after we open source. So that's kind of what we're going for. So that's kind of like the goal of today is just hang out and just chat as I work on making sure some of the stuff that we're working on is able. I'm able to open source it, so other people could start using it. And yeah, that's kind of what we're going to be working on today. So yeah, let's go to my main screen. And I think the first thing I want to do is our chatbot is not running yet, so let's get it running. So we might have to fix this a bit, because right now it's a bit wonky, but we could do it after we open source it. Or maybe we should fix this before we open source it. Okay. So this is not right. We are preparing. Whoa, 2 of them? I thought you were only building 1. Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys use it tonight. Hopefully it works correctly. Hopefully it works correctly and you guys could start using it right away. So we usually do we stream on Fridays. Game stream. So we are all going to have, so there is like 4 of us, and we just get together and play some random games. So if you like that, we are doing that today at around 7 Eastern. So we are going to play just a bunch of random games and see our reaction. There was like a really cool one from last Friday that it became kind of popular around because of how funny it was of us playing Fall Guys. So let me find that clip and post it into the chat so you guys can see it, in case you haven't seen it yet. Give me a second, this is taking forever. But yeah, it was very funny to see it, to see the clip. Okay, so this is a clip. In case you didn't see it, but this is kind of what happens on Friday nights. Getting ready to open source Twitch chat client and overlay server. That is kind of what you're preparing yourself for. So we're gonna be playing some new games. So I think we're playing 2 new games today. So that's gonna be fun. Okay. Cool. So the first thing I want to keep doing is we didn't finish writing tests for our server itself. So I just want to make sure that we finish writing some tests for this server. Oh, better yet, we could just run the command here. So let's see how much of our code is tested in this directory. And then from there we could just go. Oops, I want to make sure that this is not too loud, so let's do just cover. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so we don't need coverage for this here, for these two files. We don't really need to cover our test file. The only thing I need to do is like there's certain things that we haven't done. So I want to make sure that at least this one here, we get it to at least 90% or 85%. So that's kind of what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to just write as many tests as we can to get it to 95, and then from there we could start preparing for open sourcing. There's a couple things that are hard-coded that I want to remove from being hard-coded. Also, I have to remove like all these coverage files. But yeah, so we are going to be streaming tonight, just us hanging out, playing some games. We're starting a bit earlier. That's the only thing. I should update the schedule, because the way the schedule is set up, it says that we're going to be doing it at 8, but today we're going to do it a bit earlier. Well, we might start without you. That's true. If it turns on, but well, don't take the old one apart. You guys should just take the old one and just carry it with you. Also take your monitors too. Oh. Haha. Well, I hope it turns on, because if not, you guys are gonna be doomed for. Wait, are you doing that for both too? Like, it's not only yours, you're also doing it for... Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's kind of why it's so cheap. I won that one too. We were talking about the new NVIDIA video cards. So there is like 3 of them. There is like the 3070, and then there's a couple more. I think the 370 is the cheapest one, but it's so nice though. Okay, so we're here. Let's just look at our test here. The 90, dude, the 90 is for you could run a little like machine learning on the 90. Oh, I made some changes to my editor. So one of the viewers suggested that I use relative numbers, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. So if the numbers online look a bit weird, it's because of that. But it's super helpful because I could just do, instead of doing JK like I usually do, I could just do 10. So oops, I could do 10 and then J, and then I could jump into that spot. Same thing, so 10, J, and I could keep jumping that way. So it's super nice. I could do 20 and then K, and then it takes me back to the top. So in the next couple of streams, I'm gonna try to kick my habit of spamming this key. Oops. This, I shouldn't be doing this. So if you see me doing this, you should call me on it. Also, I added some new rewards to the point system. I added a couple more. So it'll be cool. Cool stuff. So check it out. Okay, cool. So we are going to be just rewriting some of our tests here to make sure that it's working correctly. So as always, we could use our test coverage tool. So we are going to print. Yeah, we're going to just create our test coverage. We're going to run this test here. Make sure that we get all the files that are being covered, which it just failed for some reason, but I'm going to rerun it. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, why is it failing? So I haven't made any changes to our code base. So I'm not sure why it's just failing like that. If I run this one here. Yeah, I haven't made any changes to it. Maybe it's because I'm trying to do coverage. It's interesting. So we have a broken test. But so the thing that happens with 90, so the 3090 has more memory. So the way that machine learning works is that you have to bring the more data you bring into the GPU, the better, because then you don't have to worry about transferring, right? I think I can't remember, but I think it has like 10 gigs or 20 gigs or something like that. It is pricey. It is pricey. But you could be doing some cool machine learning models. Fail to parse. So for some reason it's failing to parse this here. So we just have to check what is there, like what is the issue. But yeah, it's more expensive. It's like super expensive. It's like super pricey. But if you're doing anything with machine learning, it's worth it. Totally worth it. Oh, I didn't read that. I didn't know about that. The one I knew about was you could have so you could build a green screen without having to do any green screen on it. Oh, so I seen those. They've been doing that to the AMD drives, where they overclock it and they have to literally pour I forgot. It's not hydrogen. It's so you know the cooling things that they put they pour into like really hot stuff to keep them cool. So pretty much that they just have to. Someone had like a massive globe and they have to like pour it and then throw it on top of the CPU. Yeah. Liquid nitrogen. They had to do that. So unless we could get a tank of liquid nitrogen here, we are now overclocking our computer. Okay, so line. Why is it only failing like this? So it fails only if I run it with it. Yeah, that's weird. It fails sometimes and passes sometimes. So we might have a race condition somewhere, which is better if you figure it out. Okay, so we have a race. Okay, might be better to just use a race flag. Yeah, so we don't have the space to put liquid nitrogen in here. I think we have a big bug here. For now, yeah, we might have like some race conditions with the channels and things like that. It fails sometimes, it passes sometimes. So I wonder what is going on there. So, well, we'll figure that out later. So now that we have our test coverage file, let's open it. Okay, so we need to send parent messages and we have to send the pings to it. Let's do parent messages. But yeah, the 91 looks very cool. So I don't know. Especially because like you could do the green screen without having a green screen, right? So it would be cool to have a green screen without having to have like the green screen behind you. So that's how powerful it is. Is that, well, all of them are very powerful and they all support this feature. It's like you could have a green screen without really having one. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to go and find some of the some of the private messages that we have gotten before and turn them into test data. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm just gonna take one of these messages here. Yeah, so like this one. We're fake pinging. I was gonna say the only issue that we have is like we're pinging the Twitch API, but we could fix some of these things to make it more useful. Well, we're not pinging it. We're pinging our Mac server, and then our Mac server is then pinging it, is faking the Twitch API. But we need to make sure that the data that is returned by it makes sense. Okay, so this test here is testing cap. So we are going to create a new one, and we're going to test our private messages. Wait. Just make sure I spell it correctly. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking about those video cards. Then we want to do server response, which is we just want to put this in there, and this is the response we're expecting. And we just have to copy most of these things. Maybe it's time for us to put this inside of a function too. Yeah, let's do that. So we pretty much have to copy this over and over again. So let's just copy from here and then create a new function. And it takes t. Which is an instance of the t structure. Okay, so we have t, and we want to return a pointer to our echo server. What is our echo server returning? So our echo server is returning a pointer to the echo. Okay, so echo server, and then that is that. We could take this one off because we don't want it kill our server here. We are also gonna take this one off because we don't want to do that. So we have two that we need to handle. So it's also we also have to kill our Mac server. Shut it down. So we're gonna have to do a couple of things. We're gonna have to return 3 things here. We're gonna return our client. So it's just client. We're gonna return our echo server, which is just the one that is mocking the Twitch API, and then we're gonna have to return our Twitch API instance. The Twitch API? No, the Twitch Mac server. So it's a HTTP test instance. The goal here is to make it possible for us to shut down the servers only when the tests are done. So if you close it inside of our function, so if we do it in here, when our function, so if we do defer in here, that means our function is just going to start failing. So that's kind of the goal. So we're going to start it, and then we're going to return client, and we are going to return our echo server, and then we're going to return our Twitch Mac server. And then inside of our test itself, we are going to go back here, and then in here we are going to do so client, then the next one is echo. I'm gonna just call it chat server here, chat server, and then we return our Twitch Mac server. Just call it, Nice. Which mouse are you getting? Whoa. Oh, guess what? This is what I have. Look at the back. Look at this. I have all the weights on it. In it. So I like it so far. I don't have the wireless one. But the wireless one looks very cool too. Oh, this one does. It only has, so I'm not using it right now, that's why it's off. But it has a light here, and then it has a light on this side too. Somewhere here has some lights and some lights here. It's not, so I'm currently using my Mac, so that's why you don't see it. Cool, so what I'm doing now is I'm just going through all the tests. I'm just going through the tests and just making sure that I am reusing some of the code. So we have some other reusable code here. Oops. We want to go back here. And I don't know how I ended up adding extra symbols to it. Okay, so now we just have to start closing things. So we are going to close our, we're going to defer. First, let's do it in order. So defer chat server. I'm going to have to rename it again. I'm going to call it mock dot. I think it's shut down. I can't remember what it was. I think it's shut down. So let's see. Yeah, it's shut down. Yeah, so I don't use it with my Mac. I have a try pack for the Mac. I am not keeping up with using. Stop the habit of using the moving keys. I need to pay more attention to that. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Let's just rerun our test. Okay, so the zone stuff is spelling now. So 20. I rename it to Mac. And then 28. So 28. It's gonna mess up my scrolling. Since it's relative now, my lines don't match. So we need to find. Wait, how do I find where I am? So 28. Oh. Okay, so 28 is now 28. Yep. 28. And then here is this is our chat server, we are faking the response. And since we move all the error stuff, we have to make this one define. And then 13. Oh, okay, so that makes sense. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so it looks like there's some kind of bug that just makes it seem like we need to figure out this later. For some reason, it's spelling very hard. Are you gonna get a wireless one? Because I know there's a wireless one that you could get. Okay, so we have private messages. And then here, oops, we should just add the message that we removed. Okay, so this is what we're expecting. Then we can just do the same thing here. There is like a cool mat for it too. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. Yeah, so if you have the map, it will automatically charge it for you. So we start our server. So our server is running. We don't need to do the for loop. We just want to make sure that it gets the private message. So how it will parse it. So we send. Wait, how do we send? So this is a response. This is what it does. It should be in there now. Because we're just looping through it and getting a response, so it should be there. So let's see that. Give me a second. Okay, so Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. So I had the same decision too, and I went with the wire one. I like the wire one a lot. The only thing I have issues with is I don't know how, like, my fingers are very far away from these buttons here. So if you see it, like, I'm probably holding the mouse wrong or something, but there's no way for me to click. I don't know how to click those buttons. So I think I'm just holding it wrong, most likely. So what I'm doing now, I'm still refactoring the code itself, so I could just start using it more. So I am just running the test at this point. I finished refactoring the code. Yeah, that's too expensive. Did I mess up something? I think I messed up something. No, that's right. Weird. How? But yeah, it's that. But you also have to get the mat, so the mat might be more expensive too. Like in total, it will be more pricey. So I'm just running the test to make sure that we're getting something back from it. Very nice. Blocking. Why is it blocking? We shouldn't be blocking for messages, so. Did I miss that message? I might have missed the message. So maybe we should... we're doing some weird stuff, so. No, thank you. Yeah, no, not doing that. Especially with something that is gonna be right under my hand. So I don't think I will get something after the market. Okay, so we're starting the server here. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe we shouldn't start it there. We should start the server after we set the response. Sorry, we should start our client after we set the response. So we should do it somewhere around here. So we do client .star. The issue is like our server is not. I think it's reading before it gets a response, and then some bad stuff is happening. And here we are gonna do client .star. That is not working. Yeah, no. If it catches fire, it's gonna be painfully annoying. Okay, maybe that's the issue. Maybe that's why this is failing too. It's like the servers themselves. It's doing some weird stuff. So I am putting a message into the server, but I don't see my client reading it. So let's just look at the client. Very like 2 months ago. I like that your switches have code like numbers. They don't have names. They have numbers. Meet number 1. Oh, you know what? Here's the issue. Maybe I should add a function to send messages because the issue is that I'm forgetting the new line. Do you have like a... Do you have a picture online? Okay. I am thinking I am sending a valid token somewhere. No, but this is creating the token, so. Wait, am I hitting the Twitch API? Photo 4. Ooh, I wonder if he's making a request to the Twitch API directly. Let's see what we're doing here. We're passing the API. We're creating our fake server, so let's see if he's using it. It should be hitting our fake server, so we just have to make sure that it's hitting it. So the request is making it here. So before anything else, we're gonna just print here. As always, I will go to debugging tool, print new line. That is weird. That is a weird fish you have there. I think, yeah, there's probably a race condition in here, so it will be fun to find. And sometimes it's get stuck. So you get to, there is two things wrong here. Sometimes it fails. Oh, this is the correct one. Oh, it doesn't look like it's making the request to the Twitch API directly, so that is the first mistake. Why not? And which one is failing? Oh, it's this one failing. Oh, I thought I fixed this. So we have an issue where it's using the wrong API. Really thought I fixed it. That's not what we want. We want... Yeah, we didn't fix it. How come my tests are passing? So our Twitch tests are supposed to be failing right now, but for some reason they're passing. So that is not good. So it's pinging the Twitch API directly when it's pinging the Emo's API directly. How can I avoid this? I don't want to ping this API at all, but I don't want to mark it either. So what if I make a setting to turn it off? Yeah, that may be the best way to do it. So we don't really want to test. Oh, do we want to test? We might have to make another Mac server to test the emotes. Because that's what's happening right now. The thing that's happening right now, well, it's not very helpful either. So maybe that's kind of the issue too. It's like the request us, sorry, the error that we're getting back makes no sense, right? It says failed to request Twitch with, but I don't think it's Twitch failing. I think it's this one. So I might have ended up doing something bad. Yeah, the messaging doesn't make sense. So it's not Twitch anymore. It's emotes. I think its package needs to love to fail to parse. So anytime that says Twitch, it's not really Twitch. So yeah, so we're hardcoding some stuff here. So we have this hardcoded thing here, which is why this is failing. So we need to figure out a way to turn it off. But for now, it's like the messaging is a bit off too. So I just need to figure out where it's being used. Handle emotes is the one doing it. But it shouldn't go there because there is no emotes. Is there any emote? Yeah, there's no emotes in the message that we're testing. Oops. Yeah, it should never go into this and like figuring out any of that. At least for the test right now, that should never be happening because I believe that we're not passing any tags in our test. Yeah, we're not passing anything, so that shouldn't be triggering. So I wonder if we're doing something else. Oh, dude, that is one ugly fish. Oh. Yeah. They're huge. Oops. Okay, so we're doing something weird here. So this is not what it's using. It is handle emotes. So handle emotes shouldn't be triggered at all because we don't have any tags. So wonder what's going on. At least for now, we need to figure out why this is triggering when it shouldn't be triggering. So it should be returning here. Also, it's good that we're writing tests because I don't want to be pinging the API. Wait. Oh, that's wrong. Yeah, I don't want to be pinging this API, so doing testing either. So we just have to, we're gonna have to fix it. So it looks like that's not the one triggering it, so that's good. Just need to find the one that is triggering it. Oh, it's the user one. So he's trying to find the username. So there's one that goes, and then this isn't for badges. We might have to. We're gonna have to mark a lot of stuff here. We have to mark badges, and we have to yeah. So. And the username, things like that. So this might take some time for us to do. So we have to look for where we're using the Twitch API. Okay, so this is the one that's getting the name. This one shouldn't be pinging. It should be pinging our test server. So I find it interesting that it's not. Yeah, it should be pinging our test server. So let's see what it's doing. It is pinging it. Oh, but the one is missing. Why is the one missing? So this is fine. It's because we're doing a short path. Ooh, I know why. It's because the message just included the ID. So we should handle this better. So I think this is kind of the first bug we have to fix, right? Right now, our server is expecting to always have a ID. So here, so we're checking if it's not in the cache, but we should also check if the ID is not, if the user ID is not an empty string. Weird fishies. Okay. So we have, now we are getting what we want, but we're getting a empty pointer error. So we just have to handle that too. So that was line 40. So 140. Okay, so we need to handle this too. because our user might not have a profile image, we are just gonna send it to empty. Ooh. Okay, if cast user is not equal to, I think it will be nil here. So we could do this. Then we're gonna do, we are gonna reassign it. So this is the way that we're gonna check if there is a profile image. So profile image equals cache. And then we're just gonna use that there. So wait, you're gonna get a fish from Thailand? Oh, I found a typo. Okay, so we are now, I have fixed that one. And this one. So what we're doing now is just going through it and just making sure. What did I do here? Why is it not defined? Oh, I spelled cache. Cached instead of cache. Okay. Wait a second. I don't see our handy bot account. Oh, it was running, but it's not. Am I in the wrong place? Yeah, I am being using the wrong screen, so that is why. If you're watching, I thought this was running, which pretty much says what I'm working on. But what I'm working on is I'm refactoring. I want to open source this whole project in the next day or two. Maybe 3 days. It might take more than 1 day to be able to do it. But I want to open source it so other people could start using it too. There is some things that are hard coded, so we gonna have to remove those things. But as we go through, we're gonna remove them. And I think I might open source it and then remove the hard coded stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't. What I'm not sure what I'm guessing. Do you try your trick in Valorant and it worked? Oh, thank you. Okay, so you get to pick my beverage. Water or chocolate milk? Oh. That's too bad. Well. We're not chugging here. I get to sip a chocolate milk can. I had to restart my, yeah, this is chocolate milk. It's not coffee, chocolate milk. Some people know that my addiction with chocolate milk. Okay, so we are getting a message back. I wonder if there's a way for us to look at this message and do nothing. Something to also fix. Okay, so we're getting a message now. So we're not getting the error anymore. The error is being caused by two things. First, we were pinging our Mac server for a user ID, but there was no user ID. So there is no user ID here, right? So that this is pretty much a simpler message we're gonna get. So there's nothing there. So we shouldn't be getting any errors here. So here, now I could just do something like let's look at this. My server, something might be up with my Go Please. I wonder if there's a new version of it. So I use Go Please to autocomplete my for autocompletion in Go and for like parsing and all different things. But there's from time to time where there's bugs. And then there's always a new release. So this one's from August 4th. So what was the last time I updated my? So I just want to make sure there's not a new version of it. If there's a new version, I will have to update. Oh, I did not push that change. And this is the error. This is why I didn't push it. There is a bunch of things I have not pushed to GitHub in a while. So. Okay, so I have the latest version. Okay, so that's not it. I will have to figure out later. Yeah, so I'm just refactoring some of these things to make it possible for me to open source it. This is not necessary anymore. I am still not using the right commands, so that's the kind of sad part. So 14J, yeah. So I still need to practice some of those. I think I need to practice. The one I need to practice more is how to jump between lines faster. So like jump 2 lines or 3 lines instead of 1. Okay, so what we're doing here is that we want to check what our message channel returns. On message, we return a message. We have badges, which is 0. We want to see the display name. So let's see. Oh, we already saw that here. So we have the display name is user. Okay. So we go back here and we want to do use display name. And in here, we are going to just check that the display name is this. If data.display. Hey, how's it going? Is it really Frank? How's it going? So I will plop you. I will turn you off alarm, and then I will tell you that I will run it in like 5 more minutes. Thank you for the reminder, though. Really Frank, how's it going? So we want to check here that the username is, if it's not equal to what we want just want to display through an error. So here we could just be like, so our test will fail. So we're gonna be like, display name in a match want. So this is what we want, and this is what we got. How is the stream? A lot of things are. I feel like I have dropped so many frames, which is really weird. That is a lot for a fish. I don't think I will ever pay that much for a fish. Ooh, yeah, that's also very true. Yeah, you're right. So, ooh, I haven't seen that one before. So that would run at the end, right? Uh, oh, that's very cool. So I could do something like ts that cleanup. And I don't need any of this. And in here, I just have to rename it because it has a different name. So, yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I didn't know that was they added more of functions like that. So that means I could remove some of the return things that I have here. Way nicer. Way nicer. Thank you so much. That's way nicer because I don't have to do the cleanup myself then. And then I could just do. Do you know what version of Go was that added? I feel like I have been missing out. According to the documents, it should work. Maybe if it doesn't work, I might have to do something else. Wait, so... Oh, my formatting is wrong. 26. Yeah, my formatting is wrong. Want display name. Got display data. Display. Okay, yeah. So that's something I have to certainly fix, but yeah, it looks like it works. If we take the B flag, which is just being noisy, it looks like it works. Thank you for that. I wish I'd... Wait, it's part of the documentation too. Yeah. Is there one for setup? Because that would be cool. Nope. I guess I could just use to set up. I could use something like this. And then tear down code within the bottom. But this is very cool. Thank you for that. I didn't know that they added a new method like that. It's like it makes this whole thing less wanky. Okay, so we could run it. So that is passing. And then we could just look at our coverage again. Again, not sure why that pointer is failing, but I think I have an idea of where to start looking for it. We also have race conditions here, so yeah, it was perfectly done for what I needed it for. Yeah, some of these things are weird. Like it's getting stuck here, because the message is not being sent, but that's not right. I have it's a buff. It has a buffer, so. So the client is connecting, it's just not getting any message. So let's figure that out. I think we should just start figuring out those errors. Yeah, that was meant for me. I tried to. It's not. I think it's not a race condition. It's mostly of a channel that is blocking, waiting for a message. So this is what happens when I run it with race. So I think there's a channel somewhere in my inside of my client that is blocking. So I just have to like drop a bunch of, or can I use a debugging tool? Let's just drop some if statements for now. So I am wondering if there is something to do with how I am handling the connections, right? Because we're waiting for a new line, and if so, okay, there we go. This is a big one. So we're writing to our buff. Okay, so it's our echo server that is having the issue. So we created a MAC server to MAC the Twitch chat server, and I think it's causing us some pain. So I guess there's a race condition where we're writing to multiple places. Oh, you know what? Well, no, that's not possible because we start in multiple servers. So let's just go into the first one and look at it. Okay, so yeah, so there is a warning, and then we're writing. So this just means that multiple Go routines are writing to the same place, and we don't have any protection. So that might be the race condition. So we have it in our Go file in our helper function. So I tried using race before, but it just didn't do it. It just got stuck there because one of the channels just didn't release it. So the main issue that it looks like that we're having is because of our MAC server. So our MAC server is the one that is handling the responses. Okay. So it's because we have a Go routine and we're just waiting for that Go routine. So let's just add some lags here. Wait, do I? Yep. It's better if you just add some lags. When we write to it, we should just add a lag for it. And then we could just add a relag to it. That will make it a lot easier. Yeah, thank you for the recommendation, Frank. So here we could just do we're just gonna read it. So we just do e dot relag. So we're gonna just create a relag here. We don't want to use the lagger. So we're gonna read. We're gonna lag it. That's wrong. This is what we want. And then we're gonna defer here. So we're gonna. Where's our lock? Okay, and then we're gonna lock it. So that's the first thing we have to do, right? The second thing that we're doing that is bad is that we're writing to our server response from anyone could write to it. So we should put it as a function that we could use to write to that. So the goal here is that we are only reading from it. Sorry, we are reading to it as many times as you can, but we are writing to it only once with a lag. So we could just do another lag. We could create a function here, a method that let us do that. So and what is our server response? I think it's a set of, yeah, it's a buffer. So and when we do this here, we could acquire a lock. So we could say that lock. So now we're lacking. So we are not holding, only one Go routine could write to it. And then we could set our response. So this is just our MAC server that we're using to send messages to the chat. So this is marking the chat API. Sorry, this chat server from Twitch. So we could test things without having to ping the Twitch server directly. Oops, I didn't fix. We didn't fix that. So inside of our tests, anything that is using server response, yeah. So anything that is using this is wrong, and we need to change it to use set server. Set response. Yeah, so now we are doing this more safer. And we are, this needs to be above a pointer, so okay. Or I see what I was doing. No, this is right. So this is not there. We are going to turn it here. Cool. And then we just have to do the same thing here. So this will make us be a lot safer here. Okay, so it's still blocking. So let's see if we get the errors that we got before. So yeah, so it's still blocking. We are not getting, okay. So again, it passes sometimes and fails sometimes. So we have, it's some kind of, the message is not being put correctly into the, it's not being put into the channel in time. So our channel is just blocking for a message. So we might just have a very flaky test suite here. So it's gonna take some time to figure out as we go. But okay, so we have a race condition fix. We have our second test working. Now we need to test. We could go back to our coverage tool. So let's go back to our coverage tool. Okay, so our coverage tool, and we're gonna open it again. Here we have the right browser. Okay, so now we have tested 70% of these files, so we just have to keep going down to figure out like what we didn't test. Okay, so we're not testing if there's no user ID. We're not testing any cache, which is fine. We are gonna let this test next. So that's kind of what we need to test there. So we need to add labels. So if you look our message that we're sending, we in line 4, we are not, oops, not line 4, line. Oh, my lines are messed up because of how I changed it. So my editor, I changed my editor to use relative line numbers, so I could kick a habit of pressing JJ or KK all the time. It's not working all the way. I might have to use a plugin that one of the viewers recommended last stream, so that might be an option. The goal is to reduce the amount of time. You're very welcome here for the live lessons. I saw your message. Sorry that I respond to it. I have a couple of them that I had to respond back. Yeah, you're very welcome for the like. It looked very cool what you're working on. Cool. So here we don't have any tags from the Twitch API. So the next one we have to do is just, this is a simple test. The next test will be more complex. And we could steal some of the messages that we have with tags. So we could go back to our scanner or parser and take some of those messages from there. Oops, I did something weird here. Okay, so we're gonna go to our scanner and, well, parser, because it's more clearer, and then take some of the samples that we have here. Let's see, ampersand. No, okay, so this is how a regular message that has a bunch of information looks like. So this one has like the different badges that someone might have, and then their display name, emotes, and all that information. So maybe the next thing we should do is like how to handle emotes too. So we don't have to create a Mac server or something to be able to handle it. But we just want to test this as much as we can. Again, the goal of today and maybe the next stream on Sunday is to be able to make this open sourceable. And for everyone that's just joining, the code base that I'm working right now manages all the different overlays that we have in the chat. So, sorry, in the stream. So the top bar is managed by this server. The chat messages, so every time someone sends a message, you see it coming through. Is managed here too. And it also manages the our bot account that keeps saying what I'm working on. So it manages that too. So we have also some commands on that too. So that's kind of what we're testing here. Well, what we're going to be open sourcing. It's like pretty much all those tools that do that. Private message. Yeah, so I want to open source it because there is a lot of cool things in there that I'm doing. It would be nice to get other people to look at it too. And that's kind of why I'm also making sure that we have tests. Okay, so this one here is very long, so we might want to store this in a file for now, but in a file at some point. But for now, I'm just going to take this, pass it as a response to our chat server, and see what it gives us back. And thanks to Frank, we don't have to do any weird stuff when it comes to like closing our connection. Okay, so we have data now, and we just print it out, so see what we have in there. So we have to write a test for the ping. But yeah, so we ended up writing a bunch of tools in the past like week and a half, 2 weeks, where we get like all the messages that are happening in the chat, we get them as well. We get when people join and leave the chat, which we're not doing anything with leaving. So we're just testing different things here. And then like we created the overlay during one of the streams too. The chat overlay that shows up when someone sends a message. We are handling like the parsing of the message, adding the badges, getting the user profile images, and all of those good things by using like the Twitch API and like another third-party API that we need to use to be able to get the emotes themselves. I also think we really have a race condition here when it comes to the messaging. So I'm just going to keep running this over and over again, but we're going to use one of the Go tools later on to profile. We're going to profile the locks. So there is something in the Go tool chain that lets you profile mutex locks. The only thing I'm not sure if you could run it from test. So I know how to run it from a server that is running, but I'm not sure how to run it from test. Yeah, same thing here. So it's pretty much the nicest thing to write tests on. Last stream we were discussing writing tests in like TypeScript or TypeScript in JavaScript versus writing tests in Go. One of the moderators was like, "Yeah, I prefer writing tests in Go. I miss it a lot because like I don't have to figure out which tool to use." Like the thing with Node.js and TypeScript, and just JavaScript in general, is like you have to figure out the different languages. Sorry, you have too many packages to figure out. I like TypeScript too. I like it a lot because it makes it less harder for you to shoot yourself in the foot with JavaScript. But when it comes to like figuring out which library to use, there is like so many different libraries for testing in JavaScript that I don't know which one to pick. There's like Jest, there's Mocha, and like these all different tools. But like, which one should I pick? It would be nice if the standard library will have it set up for you, like at least something that you could use for testing. But I'm looking for a way to I don't want to do tracing. I just want to do so I could do something like this inside of the if I was running a server, I could just do that and see if there's a lag somewhere. But I'm not sure how to do that from my test itself. Oh, so I could probably use this one. Okay, I think I can do that. So let's try that. So what is happening now is that we have a lock. So one of our channels is lacking, and I'm not 100% sure which one is lacking. So if this works correctly, we will be able to cache it as a prof, and then I could just use the, I could just pass it back into a profiling tool. Yeah, so I could just probably pass it here. So yeah, writing test is very important. I totally agree with you. Like writing test is super important. Like all the way is super helpful. And yeah, VS Code with TypeScript is like so nice. There is like it's super nice to use. It auto completes a lot of your. It's super helpful. Okay, so we have a. So we could use this tool here. Wait, why is this? It's empty. Wait, it created an empty one. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so let's try this one. I was not expecting it to start an empty one, so maybe because it was running inside of a test or something. Okay, still creating an empty one. So it said I'm using a Doro Beach. Let me make sure I get it correct. So yeah, I'm using a Toro. It's like a gaming headset. It's like one of the latest headphones that they have. I'm glad you said that it sounds good because like the first thing that I was thinking of getting was a microphone, like a Yeti or something like that. So I was thinking of getting a Yeti, but what I have right now is one of this. And I have. So those are the new ones. I don't have that one. I have this one here. If this thing loads. So. I have this one. So I have the League Pro too. I like it a lot because since I have glasses, I could do. It has like a cable thing that you pull or a tab that you pull, and then it makes a gap for the glasses. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, the first thing I was gonna get, or the first thing I'm gonna get, is some kind of headphones. Yeah. So I like them a lot just because like I could wear them for hours. So I also do meetings with them on, and I could wear them for the whole day. And it doesn't bother me just because my glasses are now being compressed by the sponge of the headphones of the headset. Yeah. Nice. Well, it's nice that work paid for some gaming headphones. Oh, some weird stuff is happening, like where my bit rate is dropping a lot. So I wonder what's going on. Wonder if I have like a second stream going on somewhere. Okay, so again, tests are passing in a weird way. It's being blocked, so I'm not 100% sure why it's being blocked. So we will have to continue figuring that out. So I want to make sure that it's not this blocking. Oh, it's me again. So what is happening? The reason why it's blocking is because again, I need to add new lines. And the way that this program works is that the way that the Twitch server works is that it sends new lines to. So the way that it tells you when it's done is by adding a new line. And what I'm doing is that I'm reading new lines. If you never send a new line command, if you never append a new line, like I'm doing here, it's just gonna block forever. So a way to get around that is by just me adding a new line here. I just should append new lines here, and that will make my life a lot easier. Yeah, I'm just gonna add a new line, and then just take it off from everyone else, and that will be a lot better because I don't have to add it myself, and I keep forgetting. Yeah. So the thing that I only do commands on my comments on my code is when I'm if it's something I'm doing something very difficult, and I know that someone that comes into the code base won't be able to understand. The issue that I have seen with comments on code is that they get outdated very quickly if the code base is changing, and some people don't go back and fix it, right? So like if you take some code from somewhere else and now you have a comment and some code, and the comment is out of context now, so it makes it very difficult to understand what the person was doing. So that's kind of the thing that happens with comments, and it's like they become out of date very quickly, and that's kind of why I don't do them much. Because like I kept changing this code over and over and over again so many times that if I have rows on comments, the comments I will have to go back and delete the comments or rename or do something else with the comments themselves. But most of the times, like they're good for places that you're like, I don't know what this thing is doing, or more like, well, this thing doesn't make any sense to me, or hey, I don't know what this is doing. So that's why I will add a comment. And it also comes helpful with the code reviews too. It depends on the team too that I work with. If my team is like really into like, hey, we don't really know what this is doing in the code review, then I will add a comment to it. So like the reviewers themselves don't know what is happening, so it's easier for us to just go back and be like, hey, add a comment because the thing that you have right here doesn't make any sense. Oops. I am jumping all over the place. So this is our display name. And what else do we want? So we have the display name, user ID, the room. We have a, oh, we get the room. So let's do want chat channel. So we're gonna get a channel. And this is our channel. And then we also want to check the message itself. So yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, so if you write, so like one thing that you should always try to avoid is like writing tricky code. Like if you're doing something clever with your code, you're kind of not doing it right, or like it's easier for people to misunderstand what you're doing. So it's easier if you just try to keep it as simple as possible. And that's kind of one of the cool things about Go itself. It's just like how you do. One of the more complex things you're gonna do is like Go routines. But you could just start a Go routine here, like there's like this, right? And that's going to handle in parallel. Then the tricky part is like how do you handle communicating between two or more Go routines, right? But that's kind of the hard part there. But I agree with Frank. As long as you keep it simple, you wouldn't need comments on your code. Like there is like stories of comments that we're reading like 10 years ago where it doesn't make any sense now because the code has changed so much, but no one has gone and redo the comment again or just take it off. No one has taken off the comment, so it looks super weird. We could probably use table-driven testing here, but for now, I'm gonna keep it as it is, one function. So display name gonna match. So we are kind of checking what we're doing below, but the thing here is that the display name here is just this one here. In this case, the display name is this one here. This person also has the same display name, so it's kind of tricky. It's kind of like it wouldn't matter. But the goal here is that we're parsing the username. So if we go back to our test case, right? Sorry, not test case, our coverage tool. What we're testing right now is this one doing it? No, this is parsing badges. And this tool here is also built in Go. It's part of the Go tool chain, right? So the Go tool chain also has like coverage attached to it. So you could do like the different coverage. You could run your test and you could run the coverage too. Okay, so where's the one? Okay, so this is the one under the display name. So now we're going in here. So that's kind of what we're testing for. Display name doesn't match what. But so most of the times, like this whole thing has been built on top of just the standard libraries. So I haven't used any third-party packages to build this project at all. So which is kind of cool because like the language itself gives you most of the necessary components for you to be able to write all the different tests. Like gives you the necessary components to write tests, to write network and things like that. So I was looking at this project. So yesterday I was doing a lot of research around making some changes to my setup, and I noticed that I could run a instance of Neobing inside of VS Code. I haven't tried it, but maybe this is the next thing I'll try. So it will let me use VS Code with the coverage tools and all the different plugins, but also on top of some of the like I get the command. So like right now, if I use a regular editor, you will see me do this a lot. Oh, you can see it, but the ways that I leave insert mode in Vim is by using JK. So all my documents, including in Google Docs, when I'm writing documents in Google Docs, I end up just doing JK all over the place because I'm trying to leave insert mode. So that's kind of my downfalling. It's like, wait, I want to leave. I want to leave this. I don't want to be. I want to move with the arrows, but but there's like also a lot of inefficiency that I have using Vim, so which I'm working through some of them right now, but not very well. Yeah, so like the Go tooling, like the standard library, gives you a lot of things that is kind of hard to find from other languages. But here for the live lessons, I am glad that you're using Jest because I heard that it's really good. It has like people like it. It's like one of the things that they like the most. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah. I think there's like less weirdness with Jest than there is on other JavaScript frameworks. Oh, interesting. We're not sending the channel. So I guess we should add the channel. Same here, Copter. It's gonna be fun. I am looking forward to playing. Wait, which one is it? Oh, Amanos. I'm looking forward to playing that one. So this is our client. What I did so far was I added that command. Is there a channel? Yep. So as part of oops, there's too many. As part of the project, we ended up building our own parser using Go. So we are parsing ourselves the Twitch messages. So we're going through it, we're parsing it, and so we have this parse variable that has like all the different information that the Twitch client will send to us, and then we just like when we're parsing it, we go through it and make some changes as we need it. So that's kind of what we did. We were not sending the channel, so part of the changes that I did was just add the channel name as part of the message struct, because we don't know where the message was sent, like what channel the message was sent to. We don't really need it for our overlay, but we kind of need it for our testing to make sure that we're getting all the information that we need. So the last one is the message itself. So whatever message the person sent, we need to figure out that it's there. We kind of ended up writing like we know that it works, kind of, because we're using it for the stream right now. But it's better for us to have some tests. So I'm just gonna copy and paste that. Yeah, so we have a bunch of tests, or sorry, we're kind of using it. My only worry is like we have a bunch of, there is like some flakiness on the test itself. So hopefully we are able to fix that as well as part of this refactoring that we're doing. Cool. So we have here, if we run the test. Okay, so our test is passing now. Okay, so let's look at our coverage. So I want to make sure that we have a lot of pieces covered as we go too. So we are still missing how to parse emotes. So that will be the next thing that we do. We also are missing some stuff here. We should do ping. Like ping is too straightforward to do. And then the profile image too. So we should do that too. But it should be, so we're going here. The Twitch API is returning an error. Wait, why is it returning an error? I have to check why it's returning an error. It should be working correctly. So we should have this information here. So I just need to check why is it not working correctly. Oh, it might be. So the reason why it might not be working is because the user ID, well, the user ID is not empty. So let's go look at that code. Yeah. So we need to go to private message. Okay, so the one that is messing up is the one here. So user ID is part of this here. Oh, that's why. our user ID here is set to this number here, but our client has a different number. So we just have to make sure that the user ID changes. So let's just reuse this user ID. Because how our Mac server for the API is also macking the same endpoint. And since that endpoint was never declared with that user ID, it's just failing. So in this case, I'm just making the user ID match. And because like our code is not returning an error, it's just saying like failed to get user information and just moving on. That's why it's happening. So I don't want to do that one. Cool. And then we do this. Still, that is a bit weird. So we just have to check what is the user ID that is sending, which is this one here. We have a space somewhere. No. Oh, here's the problem. This needs to also be the same. So we are just gonna reuse the value on top. Okay, so now we just have to make sure, we just have to make this file here to get the user information. So I'm just going to create the directory and then copy the one from oops, it looks like we ended up creating a couple of binaries here. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this file from the Twitch package that we have. So we could have it. We don't need a spec, we just need a response. Okay, so now we're getting the right image too. So we could test for the user image too, as long as the user image matches what we want. So we're testing for the message, we're testing for the user image. And the goal here is to just test as much as we can to make sure that it's just a sanity check that we're doing well, the right thing. So the channel also, the only thing we have to test now is for the image itself, the profile image. So this is the one we need to test for. And then the profile image is the one that we are kind of getting from the Twitch API itself. But since we're macking the server, we are not hitting the Twitch API directly. We are just going to our fake server, making a request to it, and getting the information that we need back from that file that I just ended up copying. So that file looks something like this. So it's just a JSON file that has the Twitch API. And then since we have the Twitch, sorry, it has the response to the Twitch API. So that's what we're feeding back to our Mac server. So here we just want to do the same kind of test too, and just make sure that we have, let's see, profile image URL. It's not match. Want. This is what we want, and then we got this here. So that means like if it could be the server could be returning a empty response too. Yeah, so the server could be returning a empty response, so we just want to make sure that we handle that too. This is what we got. Okay, so the next test that we need to worry about is testing the batch parsing. Let's just double check. Yeah, we need to test. So this is mostly, so we're going here now and we're handling this here too. So we're handling some of the edge cases. Ping is very easy to add. What we need to test now is the emote parsing and the tag parsing. Sorry, the badges, because those are the most heavy ones, especially the emotes. The emote one is going to be the most work because we're going to have to map. So we're using a third-party API to get all the emotes. So this is the API that we're using. Because it's how the Twitch API works, you have to download a 300 megabyte file to be able to get all the emotes by ID. So this one gives you all by ID too. So it's kind of cool. Some of the other ones are some of the emotes are missing though, like the Robo one. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're gonna do. Maybe the next word that we work on is figuring out how to handle those emotes that are missing. But for now, they just show us just main text, so that's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do badges first because the emo one we will have to map the API itself. So first let's do this one. And this one is just like we just need to send some badges. So I'm gonna take some of the messages that we got in the chat and find some ones that have badges. Okay, so this one has a ton of badges. That's me. Nope. I think I want Copter because he also has a vice leader badge going on and moderator, and he also has a founder's badge. So Copter, I'm gonna use you as a guinea pig here. I'm going to copy it. Oh, he froze. Defreeze? Oh, that's weird. Defreeze. Wait, why did he freeze? Oh, it's because I'm in here. Get out of there. Oh, there we go. That was weird. Hey, where are you? Let's see. Where? Oh, here's Sue. That's not what I meant to do. Okay, there we go. Just gonna copy this here. So the goal is to just get out just a few things, a few tests, a test case, so we could just use for parsing badges. We just want to trigger the badging, the code that handles the badges themselves in their overlay to make sure that it works correctly. Again, maybe it's time for me to use table during tests. Okay, let's do that because it's getting a bit repetitive. Like the first 3 tests are pretty much doing the same thing, with the session just changing the inputs that it wants and the inputs and the outputs. So let's do that. Let's just find an example here. This structure gets a bit complicated for me. Okay, so we want a for loop, and we're gonna ignore the key, the value. So This is a test. And we're gonna range through a struct. Then we're gonna create a line. This is our struct. Values of the struct. For loop. Okay. And then here we have a. So these are the inputs. So the input is just a message, so it's gonna be string. And then I'm gonna do each one. So display name. It's a string. Then we have channel, which is a string as well. Have messages, message, which is a string, and then we have the badge, which I think is a map. Okay, so data map is this. So badges. And then in here, we are going to put our message as our first input. So need to do that. So I lost that, but so this one is a very complex case because it has a lot of different things in it that we need for our testing. And then we have display name, which is, where's your display name? Okay, this is your display name. So this is a display name. Then the channel is just our channel name. So we'll call it TV. Then we have an array of badges, which I believe I could make with inline by doing which badge. Wait. Okay, I missed something. So we have the input, the display name. Oh, I missed the message. What was the message? It was just well. Okay. Then we can save it. And this is locase. So what we're doing now is we're writing a, we are going to use table-driven testing, which is something that a lot of people in the Go community do. It's where you are able to pass multiple cases to a function, and then that function will just loop through every case and then just validate the input. This is what we're doing right now. So here we are going to just pass the different badges that Copter has. Well, first we should just get that uploaded first, because I'm not sure how that looks like. And then here we are just going to copy. So I'm going to just get rid of this function here at some point. So I'm just going to copy this here and make some changes to it for it to match our table, the information that's coming from our table. And then I'm going to just copy the case up to the top. So what we're expecting, so we don't have to, so we don't have a lot of code that we're just copying and pasting all over the place. Okay, so that does it there. We need a server response. In this case, oh yeah, it has been a very long time. I will bloop you and then I'll do it. I'll be back in like 60 seconds. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you're a, I appreciate that your subscription to this channel, and yeah, thank you so much for subscribing. So I hope you're enjoying it. And if you have any feedback about the camera, the lighting, or the projects that we're working on, please let me know. Everything is welcome. Cool, we have a new subscriber. here for the live lessons. Thank you so much for your Prime subscription. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you for that. I did. Thank you so much for subscribing. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, if you have any feedback, let me know. Cool. So we in case you missed it, we in between ads, we have a new subscriber. We have here for the live lessons to subscribe to our channel. So thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it a lot. Also, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to press the follow button as well, which I also forget to mention during the stream. It's like if you're enjoying the my rants, don't forget to press that follow button. Okay, so I'm doing table-driven development, which is, sorry, not table-driven development, table-driven testing, which just means that we now have a function that handles everything that we need. I do need funding for my chocolate milk addictions. It's a very bad habit to kick. So keep me hydrated with chocolate milk. Again, thank you for subscribing. Also, nice fish, Slator. Nice fish. I don't know where you found fish heads. For your own brand. You're keeping your brand growing. So I just have to change some things here to make this work. Yeah, we make really big fool of ourselves. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to the function and just cleaning it up so we could use some of the inputs that we're passing into our test table on the top. So it's just the way to think about table-driven testing is just that you have an array, and that array has all the different cases, so the input, and then the different outputs that you're expecting, and you just have to make sure that you check each one of them. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. It's just making sure that I'm using some of these things. So for example, having hardcoded the message, we don't need to do that anymore because it's part of the top message. They confuse me too. Yeah, it's a for loop. So in Go, so I'm doing it a bit weird because I'm using some of the inline syntax for declaring functions. For declaring types in Go, but it's just a for loop that has the input that you're gonna pass to your test function, and then you have the different outputs that you're expecting, right? So here I'm saying that the input is gonna be a string, which is just like this giant blob of text that I have, and then what I'm expecting is the username, sorry, the display name, the channel, the message, and then any badges. So that's kind of the way to think about it. And since you're doing JavaScript, TypeScript, it's pretty much an object. So it's an array of objects that you have, and you're passing to your test suite. And that reduces the amount of like, instead of having like 5 or 6 different tests that you have, that do pretty much the same thing, except for the input is different and the output is a bit different too. You just have one function that you have just loop through it, and that will change depending on what you pass to it. So that's kind of the difference here. So then it becomes more reusable, and you don't have to copy and paste like your test cases. You just add new ones. Yeah, you're very welcome. So I will show you. So I will show you how it works in a bit, because I have to test some of the things here. So one thing I missed was a profile picture, the profile image. So I just have to add it here, not there. But you could keep expanding it too. So you could add more and more cases to it as you go too. But the end goal is to just have one function that does most of the work. so you don't have to copy and paste it. So I need to practice my keys. So there we go. Okay, I got it. Yeah, are you guys building the PC now? Because if you're not, you should probably tag his name. So he might not be around. Okay, I think I got everything there. Okay, so now if I go back here and then I rerun it, see if this passes. Oh, what did it break? Should be adding a new line. That is weird. So it's happening again where it's just freezing. Oh, am I not reading it? No, I'm reading it. So I'm doing something that it doesn't like. Oh, it finished now. Okay, so yeah, definitely have a race condition somewhere. Okay, so now we have. Okay, so that's kind of how this is where it becomes easier. So if I copy this, let's say I want to do a different test here for the live lessons. So let's say I have this test here, right? I just copy the input of it, and then I go here and I add a new entry for it. So this is how you add a new entry in Go. So I'm gonna add a new entry and then paste it here, right? So that means that now I have this new test case, and then I have to specify the different things that I'm expecting, right? So the username here will be, what is the username that I put? Give me a second, I have to go back. Yeah, so I have to just use all this information here. So the username will be, the display name will be put in there. So display name, so this is just like a giant object if you think of TypeScript that has all the different information. So this is it. Username, then we have the channel, which is this one here. Then we have the message, which is JWT question mark. Then we have, I don't have any badges here, so this person has 0 badges, so we don't do anything there. So we're just gonna create an empty one, an empty struct for it. So destruct, and then for the profile image, we're using the same image as this says here, so we can just take that and put it here. And then we can just get rid of the last function. So we could get rid of this whole function now because we don't need it anymore. Because we're testing it. It's part of our table-driven test. So that's kind of the magic of it, right? It's like you are able to do those things where you could remove code that you don't need because it's just like putting all of them together. So the user number is wrong. Okay, that makes a lot of sense because we have a hard-coded user number. Maybe I shouldn't hard-code it, but we just have to make sure that we change that user ID. Yeah, it's like if you have a lot of things that are being like repetitive, then you could just create a table that does all the work for you. Okay, why is my test failing? Failed to get user information, failed to make request to the Twitch API. Okay, so we are making a request to the badges API. So that might be it. So we have to add another endpoint for that. So this one is passing, the user one is passing, the one that is failing. Maybe I should make these messages clearer. Because this one is the Twitch badge API. Wait, is it? Okay. Time to figure out which one's the one doing it. Yeah, it's very nice. It reduces the amount of duplicated code you have, right? It's like instead of having like 100 different code, like 4 or 5 functions that don't change much, only some of it change, right? It's like only the input and the output change. So that one is the one that is failing. Is oops, I'm reusing it. Oh, I see. Okay, so the reason my message is not matching. So I wonder what I did to it. I most likely might have. Oh, there we go. I have a Golang in there. Oh, I think the reason why I have been having issues with the stream, well, was having issues with the stream, is because I'm playing the stream in my. So I have a computer that I use to manage OBS, and I think that's kind of the one that is causing the issue. Yeah, it's the one causing the issue, so I'm just gonna stop it. And then what do I want to do? Oh, I don't want to be in here. Yeah, so that second computer is used for like managing different things, and there are different overlays that show up in OBS and in the stream. But I left it running, and that is pretty much eating up the internet. Okay, I just turned it off. Okay. Okay, that should be better. Cool. So what we're having now is that we're having an issue which there's something pinging. So the issue that I'm having right now is like I'm not sure how to make the, but I'm not sure if what is making this request. Fail to oh, the user one is the one failing. So should make that one more readable. So the one that uses the user information is not showing up correctly. Oh, yeah, they did. So as part of the Go package, you could name your test now. So you could do something like this, which I haven't used this much, but you could give them names. So maybe we should use that. That's a good point. One of the issues we got with table-driven testing is that you don't know which test is the one failing when it fails. But we could add a name for the test. Yeah, so you could add a name, and then you could do something like, what was this one? Just testing tags. And then for this one, I'm gonna do testing badges. Okay, so then the way that this one works is that it just takes an anonymous function. Sorry, yeah, you create an anonymous function. So you could t that name and then func. So you wrap the whole thing in a function. I might have missed something. Yeah, it takes sorry, it returns a argument t. So that means that your tests are also using. Doesn't sound right. Okay, so that doesn't look right, but we might have to fix it. Okay, so here we pass t, and then we do testing.t. So that isolates your test. So what do I do here? So this one closes, so I don't need that one. Yeah, so that one isolates your test, and now, because I have another, I need another one here. That means that your testing cells are not isolated from each other. And then if it fails, it looks a bit cooler too. So you can see it here, right? It says the name of it too. So it says the name of the function, and then it says the name that you attached to it. So even if I didn't put a name to it, it kind of would just say like the function name, but that's kind of weird. But this is how it looks. It's kind of cool too. It's kind of cool too because there's another option that you have. Parallel. So you could run tests in parallel too. So you could be like, oh, this test runs in parallel. So just run all of them at once. I think there's a flag. Let's see. Nope. There is one that kind of like makes your test inside of the run function run in parallel. Yeah, I think this is the one. So you could signal that you're going to be running all the tests in there will be running in parallel, and then it will just do the magic for you too. And the reason why they added that function was because the exact same problem that you mentioned. It was because people were having issues figuring out their tests, the travel test driven development. They didn't know which one was failing, so they decided to go this way. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, t.run has you could name your tests inside of your inside. So this one's failing because the image is not getting the right image. So we just need to figure out the right image. Yeah. Yeah. There is a lot of cool things that they're doing too. There is one that I'm looking forward to. Like, oh, the one I'm looking forward the most is that there's a proposal for generics. Sorry, not generics. Embedded. So one thing I always wanted, well, that I always did, was embed like JavaScript and JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, maybe an image or two, into the binary. But there's a proposal now to be able to do that at some point. So I think Go 16, 1.16 is gonna have a new command that is gonna let you embed files in like non-Go files inside your binary. Before you had to use like a third-party tool to be able to do it, but now you could use it's gonna be part of the language itself. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, because then you could just have a bunch of like all your JavaScript, all your HTML inside of the binary. So when you run your program, then it just works. Yeah, it got proof. I think it got proof at some point. Yeah, I saw it. I think I'm not sure where I saw it, but yeah, it got approved for 16, so it's gonna come in 16. Well, this person says assuming, but I hope they do, because there is also the proposal for the file system still. Yeah, so if you want to do embeds right now, so I think there is like I can't remember the name of the package, but there's a package. If you look it up, there's a package that does that for you, but it's kind of scary. It messes up some things. Okay, so why is this one failing? I thought, oh wait, we have another user. This is Asia. We have another user ID. So let's find that user ID. Yeah, that's our user ID. We just need to make sure that the user ID matches, and that's why the test is failing. Oh yeah, don't get me started with enums. Oh, do you want to see my enums? How I handle enums is a mess. Okay, so like I mentioned before, we ended up creating our own parser. So we have a scanner. Oh wait, it's not here. We moved that to tokens. So we created a parser, and then I needed to use enums, and this is what I did. So as always, we use IOTA, and then here's the bad thing. Oops. Let's see. I think it's 45. Nope. So here's the bad thing. The bad thing is now that I have to create a map to be able to compare back and forth between those. It would be nice if I just had to define the ones. So if I was able to use as enums, I would be able to use this side and just declare this thing once, but I have to declare it twice. But I agree with you. If they had enums, that would be very nice. Wait, is there a proposal for it? Where was I? Yeah, I'd be very happy to. Okay, so let's run this again. That's blocking again. I wonder if it's because nothing is listening to it. I think before the next string, I will figure out how to run the debug tool, the profiling tool with tests, because that would be super nice to figure out. Because this shouldn't be blocking like that. So one of our tests is blocking. Even if we pass a raise flag, it doesn't tell you when there's a lag. Sorry, not a lag. When there's a buffer. Sorry, not even a buffer, a channel that is blocking. So we have a channel somewhere that is blocking. They kind of do reject everything, but that's kind of the cool thing about the language itself. It's like there's like things that they're like, show me a user case and show me that there's no way to do it correctly in the language. So the way that I did it is the correct way to do it in the language itself. Like that's what where they would tell you to do. Even if it's more robust, it's more like, well, you kind of you're done for. It's like you could do it. It's a lot robust, but that's kind of how we suggest you do it. Yeah. So reason like the testing, the badges one is the one doing it, not the tags. So for using the badges, one is freezing. Oh, is it there? No, we don't handle. There's no weird error handling there, so not sure why it's doing that. Okay, breaking the habit. So I need to go to find handle badges. So we are not even throwing an error. Oh yeah, it has been accepted. I'm not sure which one is gonna land on. The only issue that I had with testing, so I wanted to test generic their branch, but the issue that was happening was that yeah, this thing had a bunch of bunch of issues where you couldn't run packages with. So if you had like if you're using Go mod, it wouldn't work at all. But it did get approved. Wait, there was I think there was like a group chat that I was reading, like an email chain, where they also discussed like the different syntax for it too. I like the syntax that they ended up picking. So that was cool. No, yeah, there was like a whole huge discussion of um, I can find it. No, wait, I think I can. That's not the one. This is what I'm looking at. So there was like a huge conversation, oops, on the syntax itself, um, because wait, I saw it somewhere. Let's go to the menu. The question is, do you have enough points? Okay, so this is the one. So this is the one I was looking at. It's so huge. There's so many messages in here. Oh, I'm out of chocolate milk. It's this one. So this is how it's gonna look like. Well, that looks really bad, but thank you, Copter, for being my alarm clock and for being my. Oops, that one broke too. Why did it break? That's bad. Anyways, just copy the URL. It's broken. Yeah. So I like the syntax too that they did. That's true. So I'll be right back. I'm taking a short pause to so we yeah, I like the syntax. It's way nicer. So we take a short break to run an ad because we want a lot more people to start seeing the chat. The So when you go to the browser page in Twitch and you browse our video and you find our stream and you press on it, you will see a pre-roll ad. And I noticed a lot of people are dropping off there. People don't see the string and because they just see the ad and drop off. So I try to run an ad more constant. So the people there don't see that ad and we don't see an ad for 30 minutes. It goes all the way to, so I'm deciding, so maybe only go to 6 to 5:30. Yeah, so if you run the ad more constant, you get about 35, no, not 25, sorry, not 30, 25 minutes where there's no pre-roll. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. Is like we're trying to do the we run the ad and then there's no pre-roll for ad for the next couple of minutes. Sorry, for 20 minutes or 25 minutes. The stream itself will go into maybe 5:30, and then I'm gonna take like an hour break, an hour and a half break, and then we will start our second stream, which is mostly all about games and just hanging out and playing games and making full of ourselves. But yeah, I'll be right back. Again, if you're a subscriber, thank you for subscribing. Yeah, thank you for hanging out. Also, if you're down for games, we're gonna be playing. Among Us. We're gonna be playing some Valorant. We're gonna be playing some Puma Party. Is that the right name for it? I'm not sure. We're gonna be playing some fighting sticks games where you are a stick and you go for it. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, Among Us. It's gonna be the game we're gonna be playing. Well, it's kind of habit now. It's kind of like I get it confused. It's more something as asking for follows. Like if you're enjoying this, please follow. I know I should do it, but you know, habits are really hard to break. Cool. Welcome back. So, if you're enjoying this content, please don't forget to press the follow button. I stream. So I stream from Monday, Tuesday, then I take a 2-day break, then I do Friday, and then Sunday. That's kind of the stream schedule. And I stream from 2 to like 5 or 6, depending. Sometimes it might go all the way to 7. We haven't gotten there yet, but we might do that. Okay, so we having an issue where our test is hanging sometimes. Again, I think we're doing some weird stuff with our channel where it just works one time, doesn't work the next time. Yeah. I just need to figure out why is it doing that. Maybe no, because they're I was thinking that they're in the same instance. I'm not open Discord 24/7. I'm open on Discord like 8 hours, so I don't know. Yeah, no. Okay. So we're kind of thinking about starting a Discord. We'll open up Discord more. But for now, it's like I'm not sure how to manage it, and I'm not sure if there is enough need for it just yet. But if there's a need, I will start doing it. Copter is my number one fan. Well, number one, number two. There's a number two fan that doesn't watch anymore. But yeah, Copter is now number one. Here's my alarm for ads. Okay, so we need to figure out why this is happening. So there is something that is blocking our connection. So when a client connects for the first time, and I think it has to do with our test server. So we ended up creating a test server. And I think the issue is the test server is just being wonky. So when we connect to it, a new client connected, then we return maybe there's nothing here. A new client connected. Is this error? The message is triggered. Okay. So we are accepting connections. Then we get here and it just freezes. So we have a response. So here we get wait, that is kind of weird. Oh, we're copying the message itself. So get a message, we copy it. We copied one message to the next message. Here we copy one message to the other message. We copy our server response back into our connection. Here we just copy our connection. Whatever we send, we just copy it back to the client. So something weird is happening here. I just want to make sure that we can figure it out. Again, it would be easier if you could just hook up the profiler, but I don't know how to do it for testing. Like if this was an HTTP server, then it would be a lot easier for me to do it. Okay, so it's not failing there. Might be failing here, where it's trying to copy itself, and then the connection gets closed and doesn't see anything else. Yeah, so it's closing here, so that should never trigger for these test cases. We should never get into that. So there's a race condition for when the server connects to the so the race condition is mostly this server, the client connects before the server is ready. So maybe I shouldn't. Where is the connection being set up? I think maybe I shouldn't start the connection to the server until I am ready to start listening. So let's see. Yeah, so this is what is happening. So we're starting a client, and then we connect. The way it works is that we connect, and then we send them in our test server. In our test server, we're connecting. I mean, here, this is not it. Oh, yeah, should look at that one first. So what is happening here is we have a issue because the way it works is that we connect for the first time, and if there is no message when we connect for the first time, it then closes the connection. And that means that there's no more connections coming through. Maybe that's kind of the thing I should do here, is just get rid of this. We shouldn't close the connection. See if that helps. No, still having the same issue. So the issue pretty much is that we are connecting our client, and when our client connects for the first time, it's just going to get the default response, which doesn't really have anything there because we're not sending anything yet. So what we need to do is maybe change this code here. Maybe change the signature here to, instead of starting here, we start when we start sending requests. But no, that would be weird. Sorry, when we run the start, yeah. I think the user will expect. So we have a start function. So I think the user would just expect the connection to be open here. So that might be the best way to do it. Let's do that. So I'm just going to take this whole thing here, and I'm going to move it to our start function. And then our start function is going to return an error. So that means that we're only going to open a connection when we call our start function. Okay, so we are calling. Cool. So we're going to return the error, and then we're going to add it back into here. So we're going to add it back into our type, into our struct. C.connect. But because we are going to using other places, the thing that we need to do now is anytime that we are doing connect, we should check if it's null or not. If it's null, we should just throw an error instead that we have to get started. So, and this is the only place I is using it. That will help with the race condition that we're having. So the race condition is like we starting our server and then we're connecting to it, and then the server is just echoing back while we post it, but we didn't post anything, and then it's closing the connection. And that's why we get sometimes it gets stuck here. Sometimes it's successful. It's because it depends if that connection is closed or not yet. So what we're doing now is instead of connecting right away when we initialize our structure for our client, we're going to connect only when the start function gets called. And here we just need to check if connect is empty. If it's empty, if it's null, we're just going to turn an error here. And we're going to tell the user that they have to do. Well, there is this one where return, maybe just error, because we're not doing anything fancy here. Errors that new, and then we're just gonna be like server. And it's not a server, it's a client. So okay, so that's the first one. There's one that we're writing to the connection, so we have to do that one too. So I think that one is using, yeah, so this one too. So we have to make sure that we throw an error here if the connection is not connected yet. If the server is not, sorry, if the client's not started yet, we should just throw an error. So we're kind of forcing the user to start. This is wrong. Yeah, we're forcing the user to start connecting before they use it. So this one's equal to null. Okay, so that's kind of what we did there. So what we did there was, again, we have a race condition where our client starts listening, and then the connection gets closed, and then no other messages get sent to the client. So what we ended up doing here is changing some of the connections to be able to use it. So the client will only listen. Oops. Where did I do that? Oh. So the client will only listen will start listening. Sorry, the client will only connect to the server when we start listening for that connection. So that will help with our race conditions. Yeah. So now the race conditions is gone because the connection is we already sent the message. We started the server. We're waiting for the message, and then it's just gonna work. Cool. And then we go back to our nice coverage tool and see how much coverage we have done. So this one's just because I added a bit of checks. We might have to go back to those, but cool. So this also has some error checking here. Let's see. So we're not handling badges right now. Well, we are, but I wonder why it didn't. Oh, it couldn't parse it because it's parsing the wrong thing. Mm. So we want to wonder if we're gonna have to start a new server. Again, we have a bunch of Mac servers. Oops, that's not the one I want. We have at least 3 Mac servers. No, 2. We have 2 Mac servers that we're using, so we don't make requests directly to the Twitch API or to the Twitch SaaS server. And some of them are kind of buggy. Okay, so we fixed one bug already. I think we just need to figure out how to teach our Mac server here to start using the badge API. Because right now we are getting a response, but the response doesn't really match. So the test itself is working correctly, right? It's working correctly in the way that is because the response it's getting from the server doesn't match. It's just going and just being like, I don't know what to do with this, and then just to do anything else. Okay, so now what we need to do is like figure out how to teach our server, our Mac server, how to use oops, where am I? Here. How to use the right APIs. So let's see how the badges. Okay, so the way that badges itself work is straightforward. I think that's kind of the thing that we're gonna have to do here is the way badges work is that we have 2 files for badges. We have yeah, so we have 2 files, and I have the response here. So we have channel badges and we have global badges, right? So if there's any global badges, you get them from their global endpoint. If you want any channel badges, you get them for the channel endpoint. So what we need to do is first we need to teach our Mac server to always use to always use these endpoints, right? The thing that's happening right now, which I didn't notice, is we are now returning an error saying, hey, yeah, so here we should be getting an error somewhere in here saying, hey, you don't have any badges. Sorry, the badges, the endpoint's not working or something like that. So we will have to fix that. We should be seeing a 400 error. That's kind of the thing that is missing here. Our server should just be failing straight up. So let's see why it's not failing. Yeah, so we are expecting an error from our Twitch API server. Again, this is mostly our Mac server not behaving the way that we want it. We should be getting a 400 error, a 404 error because the endpoints are not found. So I don't think it's even firing. Oh, maybe I'm eating up the error, and that's kind of the issue. Yeah, I think I'm eating the error, and that's why we're not seeing anything out of it. So let's see. Oh, you know what? There's two things here that's happening. First, when we initialize our client, yeah, so first when we initialize our client, it takes a the configuration, an API, and then it takes the badges. So we don't make a request directly to the Twitch API server because we collect the badges only once, and then we bring them into memory when the program is starting. And when the server starts, we bring all the badges into memory, and then we keep them in memory, and we don't make a request again to the Twitch API. We only make the request only once. So what we need to do is, as part of our setup here, we should just get both set of badges, so channel and really channel. No, let's just get the global one. I changed my mind. Let's get just the channel one because the channel one there's only one. The global one is huge. Let's look at the global one. So again, the global one is like massive. It crashes my editor. Then the channel one is very tiny, so we could just use the channel one. And there's only one badge in here, so we could just use that one. Let's just copy that file over. So, and we just need a response. We don't need anything else from here. If this is the first time you're seeing Go, also Go has this directory called test data, which you use when you want to keep like mock data in them. The goal is that Go doesn't go into the when you're compiling Go, it doesn't go into those directories. It just ignores them while it's compiling. So it's kind of nice. It doesn't increase the size, like how long your test. Sorry, it doesn't increase the amount of mock data. Doesn't increase the time, the compile time for the language. So it's kind of cool. Oops. Okay, so we have ourselves a global badges response. Declare? What did I call it? Wait, did I not copy it to the right place? I did. Okay, so it's there now. So we can just bring it as part of our test. So as part of our test, we are just gonna use let's see. Badges, so B and then error, and then I'm gonna use util read file, and then we're gonna read our file. This is still inside of our test. Sorry, yeah, this is inside of our test, so we just have to do that here. And util read file gives you an error, and then it gives you the slice, and then it gives you an array. So the array itself gives not an array, an error. So we just need to check that for an error. If there's an error, we're gonna throw. If there's no error, we are gonna just on Marshall, and then we're gonna on Marshall to a Twitch bash type. So let's see. So here, if error is not nil, we are gonna just do fatal here. So we're gonna throw a fatal, and we're gonna be fail. Oops, to open. And we're just gonna return the error. Print out the error. So fatal here just kills the test. It doesn't do anything else. So the test itself doesn't continue. The difference between fatal and error is so t.error and t.fatal. So t.error just moves on to the next one, but it just prints that the test fails anyways. Fatal just kills the test suite completely. That's kind of the difference here. And then here we now have we have the badges as a slice of bytes. The only thing we have to figure out is like I want to make sure that it. I want to check how the Twitch client, Twitch, how we handle the badges in Salesforce. Like we're marshalling the responses, so we're gonna make sure that it's right. So get badges return a map of merchants. Why? Okay, so that's kind of what we need. So what we need is returns a response. So we just have to marshal to that. So here we are going to use the Go on marshal package. So there is Go JSON. So yeah, so there's a package that Go has where you go on marshal and marshal JSON. Just turn it back from JSON to a struct. So you could hide your struct. We want to use marshal. Marshal? On marshal. So on marshal takes I was wrong. It's marshal. Marshal takes this struct. Oh, this is confusing me. I think it's on marshal. Yeah, it's on marshal. So it takes a JSON string, and then you have a struct, and then you feed that struct into on marshal, and then you just on marshals that struct for you. That's kind of what we're gonna do here. So we're gonna do we're gonna create a new one. Yeah, we're gonna do bar response, and it's gonna be a pointer to, well, we don't need a pointer now. So we're gonna do Twitch. I think we do need a pointer, so let's see what Neo wants. Neo wants a pointer. Okay, so we are just gonna create a pointer here. And we are gonna pass it to our own marshal. So we're gonna do error equals JSON.onMarshal. Then we're gonna send the bytes themselves and then the response. So now if it isn't only able to marshal it, so if there's any errors in the JSON struct, it's gonna return error. So we are also just gonna do fatal here, and we failed to parse JSON file with, and we're gonna print the error. Cool. Okay, and then here we just do response that that is what this is doing. Yeah. And let's see what happens. So what we're trying to do now is we need the data for the badges to be able to test the badges. So we had a JSON file that had the badges in there. So this is doing some weird stuff. Oh, I have to, let me just initialize the struct. Yeah, so I didn't initialize the struct, so it just fell. So and then we could just get rid of some of these things. We don't need the bar, we can just define it ourselves. So get rid of this. See if that makes it better. Cool, that made it better. So that means we have the badges now. So if you go here, let's just check our coverage again. Okay, so we go here to see more being used. Well, we're not. Why is that? Why is that? So we are now setting the badges, so we should see the badges as they come through. So I wonder if it's done, the file's empty. So again, we just use print statements. Oops. I messed up. So I'm gonna put a print statement to see the badges that we're getting in here. So we could see the badges, and then we could go back into our code and see if there's any weird stuff happening there. So there's some of them. So then here, I believe is a. Wait, this might not be the best place to do it. Message would be the best place to do it. So here we could just do, print all the badges here from here. Maybe the struct that I pass is not the one that it wants. So we could look at that. Also, the other thing is we only have this subscriber badge. So maybe that's the issue. We only have one badge, so maybe we should just change the formatted. Yeah, we only have one. So we only have subscriber. Oh, thank you so much for the Prime for subscribing. Mighty Core 1. Thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it a lot. Cool. And also thank you for the follow. Okay, so we only have this subscriber badge, which I don't think that our test case have it. So that might be the main issue that we're having, is that our test data that we're passing through it only has, like, it has a ton of badges, but it doesn't have the one we want. Yeah, so this one, so Attack Copter has every single badge with a section of his subscription badge. So that is the issue. So we have 0. So we should just give him a fake subscribers badge, even though he has one already. So so we need to do subscriber, and then the version will be 0. That's the main issue. Let's see if that fixes it. Yeah, so the issue is that our test data has our alert is very delayed right now, but yeah, thank you so much for the follow. So the way it works is that Copter only has one in here. He has 2 subscriptions. Sorry, he has so he has a founder's badge, he has a moderator's badge, and a bits leader badge, but he doesn't have a subscriber badge, because the way that that Twitch handles it is that the founder's badge is also a subscriber badge. So that's kind of why he doesn't have it. I just attached one to him. So we should just run the test again, and then we also have to open our test tool. So okay, so yeah, so it's going through it now. So wait, is it going through it? We should just print these badges. So here we are just gonna print the badges that we're getting. So we could do print new line data dot badges. So we should see the badges that Copter has. And is a set of bytes. So wait, say an array. It is. So wait, what? That's weird. So he has a badge. So it's failing because there's nothing in there. So it's like, hey, oh, I know what. The other cases are the one failing. So we have to do length. If length of badges is greater than 0, then we do this. So the thing is that since we're using table-driven testing, there's a bunch of tests that don't have any badges, and that's why it's failing. So we're trying to access a badge that doesn't have anything in there. True. It's still showing him that he has no badges, so that's weird. No, but this one. Oh, sorry. Subscriber. Yeah, so this is a badge that he has. So he has. Wait, yeah, that's correct. So he has. It's the badge that we want is coming back. But it's also showing the different versions of it. So a badge could have different images inside of them. So that's kind of what we're seeing is the different images. So there's the title, and then there's 3 images that are attached to the badges itself, which are the sizes. So you have the different sizes of the badges and so we are, I think, good here now. So we just have to declare. I think this is a pointer. Yeah, it's a pointer. So we have to do here is we're gonna declare a bunch of Twitch badges that, well, only one. He only has one. So we only need to put one inside of it. Cool. Thank you for the hydrate, SSP. Hey, how's it going? Cool. So we do Twitch that badge, and then in here. Oh, I don't need this because it's inferring already. So I just have to do something like this. Why? Let's see. See if it lets me do that. So here we could do I lost where I was. So we need to go back here. A title will be title, and the title for this one is subscriber. And then the different images. So image 1. So the goal here is we just want to mock. We mock the response from the batch API from Twitch. And what we're doing now is we are going through it and just writing mock data for our test to be able to use and validate itself that it's working correctly. This is something that we didn't do the first time when we built the chat overlay, and we just want to make sure that we have this so we could start using it for our we want to open source this. So the goal is to open source it, and yeah, super nice. Oops, what am I doing? Yeah, super nice. I'm glad you liked it. That's kind of the thing that happens with the language too. It's like the thing that happens with Go is like you have to constantly check the release notes. If you don't check the release notes, you might miss some cool features that they added. Wait, did I mess up? No. Oh, it's capital letter. Okay, so we have some test data. So okay, so it's still building correctly. We're getting the user information that we need from there. Okay, so here the new test that we have is that we want to check that the length of the data we're getting back is the same length of badges that we're expecting. So if it's not, we're going to turn an error. So this doesn't go here. We're going to just do so we are just checking the sizes to make sure that they are the same. If they're not, we're going to turn an error. Yeah, I like t.run is very helpful because you can also run in parallel. So they say you call t.parallel. It will mark as that you could run all the tests. You could run your whole table-driven tests in parallel, and you don't have to do much work there. So it's very cool to see. At least to use length data badges. And then length test badges. Okay, so let's get rid of that and that. Just run an ad. Copter. We're gonna have to talk about your alarm skills. Wait, are you playing Valorant? You're probably playing Valorant. How is that going? I think I'm gonna do 30 more minutes. Oh, it's okay if you're playing it. You're just preparing for tonight, so. you're just practicing for tonight, so you could be like, watch all these fools playing. Oh, that's a good point too. Cool. I'll probably do that. Let's do that. Okay, I'm gonna run a quick ad, which is gonna get us about 35. No, sorry, not 25. 35. Again, 25 minutes of no pre-roll ad. So everyone else that is coming in and watching the stream don't get to see an ad. So yeah. So again, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate it a lot. I'll probably use the money to get a microphone or get some lighting for the room. That's kind of how I see the investment is. You guys are helping make this stream better, and yeah, cool. Thank you so much for subscribing again. How's your day going? Also, if you have any, which I will mention after that ends, but if you have any like ideas of YouTube videos that I could be making, like for Go, let me know, because I'm looking to create at least a few intro videos of how to write Go as part of your YouTube series. So if you're watching this and you have any ideas of things I could be making YouTube videos for, let me know. Okay, so I am working. So welcome back from the ad break. So I am working on creating a set of series of videos on YouTube about Go, or yeah, pretty much about Go. I want to create a series of tutorials in YouTube. If you have any suggestions of some like a series that you like a video that you haven't seen in YouTube before and you want it to be part of a YouTube series, let me know. Yeah, so right now the ones I'm thinking about is like just basic data types in Go, some kind of complex types, so how to use maps and how to use slices in Go, and how to do also test-driven development might be one of them. Programming 101, maybe that will take me a bit longer. So the way I'm thinking about it is like 15 minutes. Like every video will be like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Programming 101 might take me a long time because I will have to go into computer science and things like that. So, but yeah, if you have any thoughts on like something that you would like to see on YouTube, let me know. Yeah, and that's another plug. I am working on a YouTube channel to make the content here more discoverable. Like just so some of the information that we have here, we could put it there as well. Like some, the chat has been asking some really good questions, and some of the answers I'm giving are pretty good too. So I'm gonna also put those in a YouTube, in our YouTube channel too. And if you want to find the YouTube channel, it's part of the about page. Cool. So our test right now is not checking the different badges. So what we just did, we got our we have a test to check the badges of a user, and like parsing it, and then what we expect from it is just the title of the script of the badge, and then like different images for it. So that's kind of what we're expecting. So that's how it looks. As part of our test, we need to go and now loop through every badge and check if we got the badge, excuse me, that we wanted. So here I'm just going to check the size that is greater than 0. Just so, because some tests don't have any badges, we want to make sure that there's no error here. So here we're checking that it's greater than 0, and then we're going to have a for loop that is going to loop for what we need the index to. So it's going to loop through each of our tests badge that we are expecting. So so one of the projects that I'm working with, this might be a good start, because one of the projects that I'm looking at, I want to use generator. Yeah, so I want to use generator, so I just need to figure out how to do generator part of it. Thank you for this. Maybe I just end up doing this, right? Because one of the things I want to do is I want to create a REST API by just having this struct. Sorry, I want to use I think this already exists, which I might have to look into it more, but I want to create a you declare your API response in protobuf, and that will generate all the protobuf structures, which is already happens automatically. But I also want to create a RESTful API side of it, so I want to create like how like the gets, the puts, and all those things automatically through a generator. So I think this will help me a lot. Yeah. Okay, so I will look into this more. Thank you for that link, Frank. I will look into it more. It's going to be very helpful. And I might just end up just using it in this area too, to figure out how to do so I don't have to do the giant map that I'm doing. So here I just want to just loop through all our badges. Okay, so we're looping through all the badges now. What we do next is we need to check. So first, so we're checking this, that is this in size here. Or yeah, we're checking that this is in size. So that means that we cannot get an out of bound, like the index is going to be there. So here we could do data. So we could do got badges, and then we do data that badges, and here we could just do index. So whatever index we get is the one we want, and then we just have to compare things. So got, we want to check the title. Some of these things feel repetitive. There is like fanciest way to do this where you use something like generators or something like that. Sorry, not generators. You could use something like reflect, but it's like super cumbersome sometimes to be able to use it correctly. So we want to check that the badge itself. So we check the title. Again, if they don't match, we just want to be like the title doesn't match. So we're just going through that struct and just deconstructing it. This is that, right? Then we want to do and I misspelled title. Cool. So now I'm just gonna end up just copying and pasting this struct. And then sorry, this if statement, and then making some changes to it to support the different images I want to get. So we kind of just want to check the different inputs inside of it, so we know that everything inside of that struct matches what we are expecting as part of our test. The cool thing is that again, we are only writing this once. If we want to check for different users with different kind of badges, we could just do that automatically, because we just need to add it to our test array as part of our. So on the top we have an array that has like all the different test cases. We just have to add it there, so we don't have to duplicate this code over and over again. And oops, what? Do you buy Amanos? Yeah, nice. And we just need to fix the labeling. Because what is if this fails? Cool. Okay. And the last one, I might save it for Sunday, for the Sunday stream, because the next one is we need to test our emotes. So I have to write a test server for this. Maybe I could get started with the test server and then take it from there. So right here we have it. That's not hard coded, but we have the API hard coded somewhere. Yeah. So where am I calling that the API? Let's just go to the API and see what we need to do for next time. So we are almost done with the necessary prep. I think this is the last one. And it also is going to help us not hardcode things. So the last one is, okay, where is the hardcoded part? Oh, I know. This is where it is. Okay, so the first hard-coded part is we need to stop doing this. Right now, this API is hard-coded. That means that we cannot mark the tests for it. So what we need to do for this to work correctly is that we need to create a Mac server. And the Mac server itself is going to pretty much just behave the same way as the Twitch Mac server. With the only exception is that it's just going to take a emote, and then return the response for it. Can I do it in 11? I think I can. So let's try that. Okay. So we are using this API to make the request. The reason why we're using this API is because there is no way from the Twitch API to get a emote by ID. So if you have an ID, so let's see here. Okay, so let's see if someone sent a emote with ID. It's emotes. Okay, so the way it works. Nope. Okay, I will send one. So if I send an emote with an ID, like our offer here, right? So then we get the message, and then inside of our message data struct that from Twitch, we get the emotes ID, right? So we have this ID, and then so if we look at the Twitch API, so going to the Twitch API. Don't worry, I have it saved. If you're watching, Frank, I have it saved somewhere else, so I could go check it after the stream. Okay, so this one, we get a set of emotes, right? But the issue that happens here is that we don't get a set, we don't get a set ID. Wait, do we have a set ID? Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, so here's the issue. So the set ID is only sent for when the user state command gets fired, but it only fires for yourself. So when everyone else joins the chat, you don't know which emotes they have. The only thing that you get from them is the emotes ID. So that one returns badges. Okay, so there's none of the APIs we have here return. You cannot give it an ID and then give you an emote back, right? So the choices that we had when we were building this was two things. We could download the emoticons, which is a set of about 300 megs of, it's a 300 meg JSON file, which is like, gosh, and this endpoint returns a large amount of data. So yeah, it returns 300 megs of data. Cool. So we could do that, but then now we need to, when the server first starts, we need to parse the giant JSON file, because also the structure is not very helpful. It's just an array of emotes, and then you have to figure out, like, the only thing we have is the ID again. So we have to use the ID, find it with the ID. So we have to like restructure it, probably use a map that has all the IDs inside of it. Okay, cool. So that's kind of the issue, is we don't have a way to search it. So we ended up finding this other API handled by a third party, which lets you do this. Ooh, what is he? Oh, so they have I didn't know they have a GraphQL API. that is interesting. So I think that might be the way to go, right? So sorry, I'm looking at off the stream. So this is. So I could look into this and see if we could move away from it. So there is a Twitch GraphQL endpoint, which just means that we could do GraphQL queries against it, and we could get different information from it. So the thing that we were having issue with was the emotes themselves. So this is now official, but the one that we're currently using also is now official. So doesn't really matter. So there is a emotes. So you could get nothing here. Okay, so this will be helpful. So I will look at it off the stream and see if I could figure out how to use it, and then migrate to this one. Because this one is at least is hitting the Twitch API. The one we're using doesn't use the Twitch API. Well, thank you for that, Frank. Yeah, I probably just migrate to that one if it gives us a way to search emotes in a nice, cohesive way. Because this one, the official one doesn't. So the one that we're using, the third-party one that we're using, allows you to search for multiple emotes by passing the IDs, right? So if I have the ID, for example, I just posted the one for, let's see if I could find it again. So I use this one here. So if we change the ID here to that one, we get it, right? So that kind of gives us the desired information that we need. First, we have the code and we know how to replace it, which is what we're using for the overlay. And then we know the ID, so we know the channel and the channel ID. Sorry, the name of the channel and the channel ID. That's kind of what it's returning. The only issue with this API, and the reason why I'm more tempted to migrate to the one that Frank just sent us, is that you have to add your channel manually. If your channel is not added here, then it wouldn't work. Which is kind of the issue. Okay, so here, so I have like 10 minutes, so let's just start creating some of the structures that we're gonna need. So maybe also release some of this coverage stuff. I'm not sure if there's a way around this, but one thing I noticed when I was building the Twitch API one is if I want to reuse, wait, why is there? Oh, I know why. If I want to reuse some of the test helpers functions, I have to. There is no easy way for me to reuse them, and I have to just create them in a public way, which is kind of not enjoyable. Where it would be nice if I could just do something like create a test file, and then that test file is you could import that test file when you're testing something, right? If you're using the test command, you should be able to import it. In our case, we can't really do that. So what we're doing here is we are going to create ourselves a emote test file. Well, let's do the test server first. So then we're going to do I messed up the name. Okay, so what we're going to do here is that we're going to copy this. We are going to go back. This is going to be our response. I just want to give me the source, so curl command is it is. We're gonna curl, and then we're gonna save it to our test file, so we can reuse it as part of the response. And the reason why we got error is because I didn't wrap in quotes. Okay, so we have our test response. So this is kind of what we're gonna get from the server every single time. And then we are gonna create a util, and we're just gonna again call it mock here. This util is just going to be used for the Mac to create Mac servers. So that's kind of how I did it for the Twitch API. So for the Twitch API, I created a util, and the util itself just creates a test client that returns the client, but also the test server. So you get both of them. And in this case, we don't have to return both of them anymore because we have that cool enough function, and we can just call it in here. So that's some refactoring that we'll do as well on Sunday. Okay, let's make a note for that here before I forget. Okay, cool. So back here, we pretty much just have to do the same setup here. We just have to create a test client. So the test client is the goal of the test client is to create a instance of the client, but also return start the Mac server. So we start the Mac server, and then we could reuse that as we go. I think we still need to return the Mac server because we don't. No, we don't need to start it anywhere else. So yeah, let's do that. So here we are just gonna do another function. I'm gonna call it test, but since it's not the test, since the file doesn't start with test, sorry, it doesn't end with test, it's not gonna be picked up by the test package. Create test. Let's rename this a bit. Create test client. I prefer the other way around because then it just appends it. When you auto-completing it, you know it's gonna create a client. And then it's just gonna take a test. We don't have a rate target yet. I have to go look for one, and I was gonna wait until like 2 minutes, but we should find a rate target. Let's see if I could find someone. Give me a second. Only if you have the points for me to do it. It has to be coding, remember? So it could be anyone, but it has to be coding. Are they coding? Cool. He's making an AI to beat Minecraft. Okay, we could do that. We could do that. So okay, so we are creating our client, and it's gonna return a Twitch emote API instance. Cool. So okay, so now we have that there. We are just gonna go back here, see what this does. I just want to learn. I want to relearn how that API works. Okay, so we have you just have to pass the URL to it. Okay, so this is how you start it, and we just return this. And because it's part of the test suite, we don't return an error. We just do error at nil. we do t.fatal, so we're gonna just fatally finish. Yeah, you've been playing that game too much. Fail to create bridge. Thank you for stopping by. I'll see you later here for the life lessons. I like your name too a lot. Okay, so we are gonna do that. So now what we need to do is start the server on the top. And we could go back here. Yeah. So this is our Mac server. So we are just gonna take some of this off. I think he might. But I think he's gone now. So I'm just creating the necessary Mac server. So in Go, there is in the Go Sound library, there's something called ACP test package, which you could use to initialize the test. Nice. Oh yeah, if you start streaming now, wait, what are you gonna say? Attackcopter. What is your favorite takedown technique? Okay, so that. So we also have to get a response path. So wherever the response is, we need to save it. We need to pass it to ourselves. Okay, so we have the response. We have our server. And then to start it. I think so. We could check in a bit. Okay, so we need to print the body. We're gonna write it to the body. So the goal here is to do IO. So we're gonna read the response from the JSON response from the file system. Then we're gonna just return that back to whatever the color is. And then here we just have to set the URL. So I think people will be into watching it because there is like a lot of exercise channels too now, where people are just hanging out and doing exercise. T dot. Oh, we TS dot close. Okay, so we are now kind of almost done. Well, this is the last part. Okay, so this is our endpoint that we'll be hitting. So we just have to make sure that's here. Okay, so we are gonna be going for an raid. We're gonna be raiding someone that is working on Minecraft in a Minecraft bot. Wait, is he still streaming? He is still streaming. Just drop by and say hi. Thank you for hanging out. So we are gonna be playing. Oh, he's not streaming anymore. Copter, you might have to find someone else. He just stopped streaming. Yeah, he just stopped streaming, so you might have to find someone else, or I'm gonna pick. Okay, I'm gonna pick. I picked already. Sorry. We're gonna be rating someone that is, I believe, last time I checked, they were also doing Go. Yeah, I think they've been doing Go. Oh, they're using JavaScript. They're doing JavaScript. So that might be a good rate. Oh, thank you. Thank you for hanging out and teaching me about cleanup. That was very cool. Thank you again. So we're gonna be rating someone that is doing JavaScript, but he's also doing JavaScript by using ROS. So it's kind of cool. Drop by, say hi. I will see you guys later for the gaming stream. If not, I will see you Sunday, round 2. See ya. Well, not yet, because we still need to build a raid party. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and hanging, and some really good info as well.